right. Welcome to the Quantum Body Podcast, where transformation isn't just skin deep. We blend manifestation and functional health so you can heal your body, shift your mindset, and create the life and body you actually want.
Hosted by two functional health coaches and self-healing rebels, this podcast is your space to learn how to regulate your nervous system, rebalance your hormones, and rewire your reality. Each week, we're going to dive into the root causes of weight loss resistance, hormone havoc, stress, and inflammation, and how to shift your body from stuck to responsive. If you have ever felt like you're doing everything right, but nothing is changing, this show is for you. We believe that healing is multidimensional, and so are you.
This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical condition, nor is it a substitute for personalized medical advice from a licensed provider.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Yes, I'm so excited. How's your week?
Good. How is yours?
So good, so busy, all of the things.
All of the things. How is prep going? Or
Um,
we're not prep yet. Sorry,
we're not prepped
how
yet.
is
We're like,
off season going?
it's finally coming to an end, I think. So we just got labs done, as you know. We talked about that. Just making sure that health and everything is in a good place before we switch gears, and trying to maximize the amount of growth in my poor little glutes before we switch gears.
Yeah. Eating all the food, making sure you're healthy, making sure you're taking care of you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's going good. Hopefully we're gonna switch gears soon though, because it's just uncomfortable, but that's a whole other story.
The
Like,
off
it was
season.
so funny because I was like, my food got upped, right? And Chandra's like, dang, I wish my food got upped. I'm like, I can't wait for my food to be cut. Like,
See, and we just started carb cycling this week. And so I'm doing 2 low days, 1 high day. And yeah, I wish they were all high days, but different goals. I'm not building right now.
I I have to count out and see like kind of what my macros are because my coach has me on just meal plan. And so I don't always like go through and count all the macros and like double check everything. But this time he added quite a bit of carbs. And so I think it was like an extra ounce of rice with all of my rice servings, which is a big difference. And
Yeah.
then there was a banana added in, and then instead of just chicken breast, I've got some beef added in too. So he definitely brought up carbs and fats a little bit for sure. And I feel like eating is like a full-time job. Like just eating and cooking all the time is a full-time job at this point. But I'll appreciate it come prep, and I'll be like prepping on significantly higher calories than I've ever had to
Yeah.
before.
Well, and not only that, but we've compared your pictures at similar weights and stuff like that. You put on a lot of mass, right? Like you
Yeah.
achieved the goal. You've got significantly more muscle mass. You're going to be going into this prep with significantly higher calories. Metabolically, it's going to be so much easier for you, but you executed the goal, right? You put on the size that needed to be put on, and you're going to be, of
Well, I
course.
don't know if that needed to be put on, but we definitely put on size. Hopefully it's enough. We'll see soon. We'll see
Yeah,
soon.
I'm so excited for you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. I was in the mirror the other day and I was like, dang, like I'm still not big enough. And my son, he's 17, he was like, you're on crack. He's like,
That's
so I
what
don't know.
most
We'll
people
see.
don't
But
realize is there's such a body dysmorphia when you're a competitor, and especially when you're have a specific goal of wanting to build more muscle or lean out or whatever. It's never enough until you look back at it. Like a year from now,
right.
you're gonna look back at this and be like, holy shit.
Well, and two, you know what? I think because our eyes are so trained, where other people will look at my pictures, like my gym pictures or whatever, and they'll be like, dang, like, she's so big, like in a positive way. But we look at them and we're like, okay, well, there's probably 20 pounds of fat sitting on top of that. So, like everything's going to shrink down. And so I think it's different, like the more trained that your eyes are. So when I'm looking like, yeah, I look great, like in the mirror in my reflection, I'm not going to say that, I don't look like I'm huge, but I also know that there's a fair amount of body fat sitting on top of there, which is distorting things. So I'm not as big as I
Yeah.
appear to be. Object is not as big as appears to be a mirror.
It'll, I think you'll surprise yourself.
As long as it's the right proportions, and
Yeah.
like you said, we're healthier going into this prep, so I don't have to worry about kind of a lot of the Hail Marys that we had to do last prep.
Yeah. And
So,
that's the hard part. Like when you're not healthy going into a prep, and you have to pull out all the stops, right? That's when you end up with a physique that you're not happy with on stage, right? When you look
uh,
stringy and it's just not what you wanted. You should never go into a prep having to like work the hardest you've ever worked because it never ends well.
one, two, I mean, I tell my athletes, I'm like, any small problem is going to be 10x by the end of prep. So like
Yeah.
if even if you have like a small ankle issue, right? It's going to be 10x by the end of prep. If you
Yeah.
have like a weird click in your elbow, it's going to be 10x by the end of
Yeah.
prep. Like
If
it doesn't really
digestion's a
matter what
little
it
off
is.
before you
Yeah.
start prep, it's going to be a train
A
wreck.
wreck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so in retrospect, I mean, we always kind of look back and think that maybe we could have done things a little differently, but we're here now and we learned from it.
Well, and that's, I think, what makes us good coaches is because we learn from our own mistakes.
Right. I took a client on the other day and she was like telling me about how, she's tried so many different things and nothing's ever worked for her. And she was like, girl, she was like, you name the system, I've tried it. And it was so funny because we had such a good laugh because of all of the just gray area like plans that she had tried. I had also tried back in the day. And I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even think people had heard of this stuff, like the military diet and the cabbage soup diet, like all these crazy things that were popular 15 years ago. It was like, what were we doing? We were just destroying our metabolism. That's what we were doing.
Yeah. That's so funny. Like I've been sending out a lot of MSQs the last week or so. And I
Mhm.
always like, especially with my women who fill it out and they're like in menopause based on their age. And that's something that I always like preface in it. And I'm like, if you are somebody who has fallen trapped to diet culture over the years, like
Right.
doing these diets because we all got sucked into them and have been sucked into them. I'm like, yeah, we could be dealing with weight loss resistance. We could be dealing with, senescent cells and inflammation at the cellular level and all of that because that's a lot of fucking stress that we've put on our bodies following these fucking gimmicks that we were sold and believing in them and uh
All for the low rise genes.
all for the low rise. Yeah.
I was talking to one of my girls that come to pole class and she was talking about how like she was wearing low rise jeans and I was like, "No, no, that's not it." Like I don't think they realized how low our low rise jeans were because that was, man, there was like one
You were
wrong
showing
move.
your butt crack or the front crack, depending on how
Yeah,
you
I mean,
moved wrong.
one wrong move. No sitting down because you're losing your pants. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so funny. But she was like, "Oh, I've got my low rise on. I'm like 90s." And I was like, "You're so cute." But no.
I remember once, this was like one of my like worst first date stories ever. But I don't know, pretty young at the time. And we were at this pub and this guy was giving me like major ick and I wanted to like escape. And so I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. But of course, low-rise jeans, I got up to like go to the bathroom and apparently like my thong was hanging out of the back of my low-rise jeans and he gave me a thong wedgie. Yeah.
Stop right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no words. Like
I
what?
know.
My
I
God.
came back. I came back from the bathroom and I was like, I gotta go.
Like, that's it for me. I'm good. Like
Yeah.
there's
It's like,
zero chance we're gonna be compatible. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Like,
Oh, it was the, oh, if I won't get into it, but it was the cringiest date I've ever been on in my life. And that was just like the icing on the cake. And I'm like, no, I gotta peace.
I love cringy date stories. We're gonna have to have like a podcast just for cringy date stories, and I can live through you. I feel like I was like a serial monogamous. So I don't have the cringy date stories. I have the cringy ex stories, but not the cringy date stories.
I've got both. So maybe we'll do a podcast one day on that, and then we can talk about how we manifested these people into our lives.
Yes, that's what I think we should do because
Yeah.
holy moly. But I love like listening to like the dating app stories or like the like just how, what dating is today because I never experienced it. And so, I mean, for me, I was you know, I had like three serious relationships. Two of them I met in high school. And, like and so it's funny that I don't know, I love the stories. And my sister, she's like she'll tell me stories or my friends or whatever and like they're always the best. They're the best.
Oh, dating nowadays is a train wreck, like an absolute train wreck.
It feels like so like and I hate to use this word because it's gonna sound like something that I'm not trying to make it sound like, but it feels so transactional. Like just like
Yeah.
this is what my face looks like. Am I worthy of a date or not? Like it's just so weird for me.
Yeah. It
Like,
it is really weird. And like the whole premise of like dating apps, and I think this gets into a lot of why we have people stressed out in stressed out bodies, like in a constant state of fight or flight, because it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing as social media where you're getting a dopamine hit from swiping.
mhm.
And it's always about what is the next best thing? Where is the next dopamine hit coming from, right? So we've created this system where everybody's fucking nervous system is in fight or flight as they're swiping through this app trying to chase dopamine. Like it's a fucking mess.
It really is.
And
It
how can you be your best self or meet someone when you're not grounded or in a regulated body or even feeling safe, right? And there's nothing about a dating app that's going to make you feel safe in your body, like at an
that
energetic.
whole experience is not going to make you feel regulated or safe. Like the whole experience because I mean basically it's a blind date that you
Yeah.
picked based off of aesthetics, really. And so you're of course you're going to be dysregulated and show up not your best self.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing just it feels crunchy to me.
It
Like,
is. It's
like
so cringy. And like I will never go on a dating app again. Ever. Not a chance in hell. I just know like whatever the universe has in store for me, it's not coming from a dating app.
yeah.
Like there's no way to like approach that and be regulated while doing it.
That part though, right? Because it's like, okay, well, like people could argue, like, okay, well then how are you going to meet people or how do you find people? But then I think that they really, really downplay their ability to call in the perfect partner and their ability
Well,
to
and that's
become.
the thing, right? Like, first of all, everybody's a mirror of you, everybody's a reflection of you, right? So if we are attracting shitty partners, there's something about you that is dysregulated, dysfunction. There's something about your personal beliefs that you believe that's what you're worth, right?
Mhm,
So I think there has to be that ownership, just like everything else, and this really gets into the manifestation side of it. But there has to be that self realization that you are the one calling this in. And like when you shift that and when you realize you're whole without needing a partner and that you are whole and grounded and your body feels safe and your nervous system is regulated, the universe can absolutely move mountains to make anything happen. You don't have to be on an app. You could stumble into him at the grocery store or walking down the street or at the gym or whatever. The universe is going to make that divine partner show up at the right time.
mhm.
That's why Neville always talks about the bridge of incidents, right? Like the universe can move mountains. I'm going to give you an example. So, as you know, I had gone through a breakup a little while ago, and that's like part of what like catapulted me into this like manifestation space even deeper. But when I was like first playing around with manifestation, I decided that I wanted to go on a date. And I didn't know how or why or when or what that would look like, but I just threw it out to the universe that like I want to manifest somebody asking me out on a date. And literally the next day, this guy that I had talked to on and off for years, we met on a dating app. We had never met in person, but like literally we'd go through like spurts where we would like text back and forth for a few months and then we wouldn't talk for like a year and then all of a sudden he would pop up again. He texted me. He was living in like Grand Prairie, which is like northern Alberta, so probably let's say a 12-hour drive from where I was living at the time. He was like, I'm driving through Vernon. Like, do you want to meet for dinner? Do you want to go out? And I was like, why are you driving through? And he's like, well, I just decided to like quit my job this morning because I got pissed off. And then I got a job interview in Vancouver. And so I'm driving through Vernon on my way to like this job interview in Vancouver. And it's like, that's literally how powerful the universe is, that it will create this wild bridge
Dream
of incident
scenario.
that you could never dream up and just make it happen. And that's like people get so obsessed about the how. How is it going to happen? The how is none of your fucking business because the universe can make shit like that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're too focused on the how, then you're still trying to control the situation.
Yeah.
And it's like you're still not believing in your ability to create. If you're
Yeah.
so focused on the how, then you're also telling your subconscious, I don't believe this is possible.
Exactly. And like
So I go ahead.
That's something that with everything I try to, or like I'm calling in, right? I don't have to know how the clients are coming or how the money is coming or how the love is coming or how the abundance is. I don't need to know the how on fucking any of it. All I need to do is believe that I have it. And the universe is going to make wild shit like that happen because, like, that bridge of incidents from just me saying, I want to go on a date, like, that's how powerful you are as a creator, but also how powerful the universe is. Like, that's wild when you think of it.
Mm-hmm. So crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it happens all the time. And like you had eloquently reminded me the other day, expect fucking miracles every day and they'll show
Yeah.
up. And so I also think that there's something so beautiful that you had just said that I'd never kind of connected before, because you had said that going through that breakup is what catapulted this like self-discovery kind of journey, I'll call it. You called it manifestation and all the things, but I really think it's self-discovery. And so I just kind of had like
Remembering. That's
a
what it is. It's
moment.
remembering.
Listen, yeah, I just had like this aha moment listening to you of like, this is what needed to happen in order for you to get to the next level of enlightenment or remember
Yeah.
how powerful you are. And had that not happened, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation today. And so everything happens exactly the way that it's supposed to, even if it doesn't make any sense, even if it feels like a loss, even if it
Yeah.
feels like something painful, it's always to our benefit. And
Always.
and I just thought that that was so beautiful how you just connected those dots, and I had never heard you say it in that way before. But, or I guess I never like kind of realized that it really catapulted this for you. I guess it kind of was assumption that it was always. But, yeah.
Well, and
So
it was, right? Like I've been on this journey for many, many years. And it's funny because that's it was like it's like it just
going
got
deeper.
yeah, it was just deeper into my remembering, right? Because it's remembering who we are. It's remembering that we're the creators. It's remembering how powerful we are and it's stepping into that remembering. And I think it was the catalyst for my greatest remembering, honestly, was that moment and it had to happen that way, right? But also realizing and this is where, I'm so big on taking like radical self-responsibility for everything because I can tell you exactly why that relationship ended. And it's because everyone is a mirror of us, right? So if you're putting somebody else on a pedestal, they're putting themselves on a pedestal. If you're putting yourself on a pedestal, they're putting you on a pedestal, right? So I had to go through that to understand how my beliefs and my about myself and my beliefs about relationships and all of that were creating this reality. And, I can take absolute responsibility for how my beliefs caused the end of that relationship, right? Like, but you only get to that point through that like radical self responsibility. And it's funny that you said, um, everything is working out in our favor, right? Like the universe is completely neutral. And so when it comes to any of these events that we kind of deem as not good or negative events or something like that, like a breakup or losing your job or whatever happens, it's actually neutral and it's us that gets to give it meaning, right? So I could look at that breakup and be like, oh my God, it was the worst thing ever, broke my heart, whatever. Or I can look at it and be like, no, it was meant to happen because it catapulted me into this place of like knowing I'm the creator of my reality. Like that it's such a powerful shift. And you can do that with absolutely everything.
Mhm.
Like when you start to look at the good in every situation, even if it's a bad situation, like that's how your life gets so much better.
Yes, and that's how you raise your vibration and start calling in different things, you know? So I have always said, you have to find that silver lining even if it feels like it's dark and heavy and something that you don't want to walk through, but if you hold on to that silver lining, you just have such a different experience. You're going to grow from it. There's going to be some aha moment. There's going to be something where you look back and you're like, "Damn, I needed that."
Yeah.
Hard as hell, but I needed it. And here's
Yeah.
why. And then once you have that kind of like a sense of knowing and connection and really kind of understanding, it just makes you feel that much more powerful. Because you're like, okay, I needed that to learn X, Y, and Z or to become X, Y, and Z. I went through the darkness and I came out the other side. And I mean, I wouldn't have traded it for the world. Like people ask me about my childhood all the time and they're like, oh my God, and all of this awful stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but I would never trade it.
Yeah.
I would never, if I could go back in time, I would never trade it. I would never want to be born into a different family or different situation because I know I had to walk through that in order to kind of get to the point where I see my own power.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's funny. You said I like to look at like the silver lining and everything. And I say I like to look at everything through rose-colored glasses because I'm
Yeah.
going to look for the best in every situation, even if it's even like looking back, I mean, years ago, I was in a relationship with a sociopathic narcissist. And now when I look at that, I think a lot of people, when they go through
Did
the
we date the same
shit,
guy?
yeah, probably, probably.
Like-
But it's funny because it's through this journey that I've started to like realize like that wasn't something that happened to me. That was something that had to happen for, my continued growth. And it happened because of my beliefs about what I was worth. It was happened because of, when you it's like trying to lose weight and struggling to lose weight. Well, you have a belief that you can't or that you're going to
Mhm.
struggle to do so. And it was the same
Or
thing.
that it's going to be hard or it's going to suck or whatever.
Yeah, you have this belief that, you're not worth love and commitment and respect or everybody cheats or whatever. You have these beliefs. And so anything that doesn't feel good, first and foremost, isn't true, but it's identifying in you where those beliefs are, right? So that you can look at it and be like, no, I decide I want to change this because I want it to feel good. And
Hmm.
that's all our emotions are doing is they're acting as a compass
Yes.
us to navigate this experience, right?
I agree so deeply with that because if you think everything comes down to how you feel, right? The whole universe is not responding to the words that you're saying so much. I think it responds to feelings and how
Yeah.
you feel, right? And so
That's why
I,
Neville says feeling is the secret.
well, I didn't know that. Now I do.
Yeah.
But yes, 1,000,000% your emotions are your compass. And if something, and here's the thing too, is I don't believe that there's any kind of like, and I'm going to get a lot of pushback for this, but I don't believe there's good, bad, right, wrong, evil, good, all of the things. I just think, like you had said earlier, everything is neutral. And then the perception and the feelings and the lens that we see it through is kind of what determines if it's good, bad, evil, wrong, whatever in our own story. And
Yeah.
so I love that your feelings are your compass. And two,
Yeah.
I
Because
have always said I want to chase what sets my soul on fire. And that really landed me in doing this work. Like it's
yeah.
literally how I got here is I was like, that feels really good. I'll do more of that.
And that's what like most people should realize, right? Like, we're manifesting every second of the day, right? But if you want to call in the best for you, your only job is to make the best of where you're at. If you can feel good in this moment, even if things don't look great in the 3D, if you can feel good in this moment, that's what's gonna change the 3D. That's what's gonna get you
Mhm,
aligned with what it is that you actually want, right? Your only job is to figure out how you can feel good in this moment. And that's why like Abraham Hicks always talks about contrast, right? But contrast is again just using your feelings, your emotions as a compass. If it doesn't feel good, then there's something there that you need to identify. Why doesn't this feel good? And allow yourself to like shift into, okay, what would feel better? How can
mhm,
I change the story around this so that I feel better? And that's the same thing. So, like, yeah, a breakup, it doesn't fucking feel good. But when I changed the story around it, that's what got me to feeling good, you know? Yeah.
right.
It's not to say shitty things aren't going to happen, or like, let's frame it differently. Undesirable things aren't going to happen. But if you can frame those undesirable things in a better way, that's what moves you into new timelines, ultimately.
Mhm. And then too, just remembering, like you always remind me that the 3D is so delayed.
Yeah.
It's so delayed. And so what you're seeing in your 3D is what you believed and what you were telling yourself from previous. It's history, right? And so it's never going to match perfectly with where you are mentally. It's always gonna there's always gonna be a delay there.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so I also, we've talked about it all the time with your body and your image and all of the things, right? And identifying as the fit person, identifying as the healthy person, identifying as the athlete or whatever it is that is your goal. When you start
yeah.
talking by that as that now, and we always get pushback and it's like, oh, but I'm this or but I'm this or but I'm this
And it's
or
like if
our
you keep
clients talking
saying,
negative about their self and you're like, well, then that's what you're going to continue to see.
exactly. Like if you, whatever you believe is going to be your reality, right? Because your brain has neuroplasticity. So your thoughts and your beliefs can rewire how it functions. So when you think
Mhm,
repeatedly, I can't do it, I can't lose weight, I'm broken, your brain is building neural pathways around that belief. And then your brain is also going to filter your reality to confirm that belief, right? So your reticular activating system is going to be like, oh, bet this is what you believe. Let's give you more of that. Uh,
mhm.
so then you're going to unconsciously act in a way that aligns those beliefs and reinforces that pattern. So, I mean, if you can switch those thoughts, then we're going to switch your body.
I agree. And also, I think that that part gets so overlooked. And I think it comes down to just not being able to see your own power in the
Uh,
situation. And when we tell our clients, we have to reframe the way that we're talking and the way that we're speaking and thinking about ourselves. And every single one is like, oh, yeah, okay, I did that. Checked that box. Done. Move on.
yeah.
What's next? And you're like, but wait, hold on. Like, just everything that you're saying right now. And then they turn in a check in and they're like, oh, but I'm fat and ugly and this and this. And they're complaining and identifying as their disease and whatnot. And you're like, okay, but then so you didn't check that box yet. Like we have to work on this every single day. And it's almost the part that gets so overlooked. And it's crazy because you and I both know you could literally manifest your goal body. literally you could not even do anything and you could
You
literally
could
manifest
sit
your
on
goal
your
up.
fucking ass and you could manifest it. Most of us will never get to that point of belief.
I mean, dang, that would be really cool. But I just feel like, I mean, your whole body is energy that's vibrating constantly. And so if you're just telling yourself all of these things and your brain is going to prove you right, then that of course that's just of course it's going to be in front of you again. Like of course
Yeah,
if you're talking negatively about yourself, you're going to continue to feel negatively about yourself.
exactly. And it's really interesting. I was like deep diving into some of these studies, but your beliefs can literally turn genes on or off, right?
Yeah,
Your
I saw that
perception of
too.
Yeah, your perception of your life can influence your gene expression. It's epigenetics. So, chronic stress, fear based beliefs are going to activate genes related to inflammation, disease, and cellular degeneration. Whereas, like, if you're thinking thoughts that are like loving, empowering, healing beliefs, that's going to activate genes that support regeneration, detoxification, hormonal balance, and immune function. So, everybody, I think,
Like,
just thinks like their thoughts live in their head, but they influence like the chemistry of your blood, the expression of your DNA, and the health of your body, which is so wild to think like that is how powerful your mind is.
okay, but have you seen like all of the experiments with plants? And
Yeah,
like people like talk really negatively to one, like I hate you, you're ugly. And then the other
yeah,
they just speak really loving and kind. And like the one that's like spoken to loving and kind flourishes and looks beautiful. And the one
yeah.
that's like got all of this negative talk is like a dead little stub.
You
Like
know
there's
what?
so many studies over and over and over, but the plant one is the one to me that's like so visual. Like, how can you ignore this?
So you know what's so funny is like I have a lot of plants. I absolutely love plants. And I do not like I know nothing about plants. Like I'll be quite honest. Like I don't own plants because I know a lot about them. I just own them because I love them. And my mom has always joked for years that my plants do so well because I talk to them so lovingly. And
Yeah.
like always telling them they're beautiful and that I love them and like telling them how amazing they are. I literally like talk to my plants all the time. I actually was telling, I have a couple with new flowers on them, and I was telling them how beautiful they were this morning. And so that's what got me into looking into those studies because I'm like, I see it myself. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
a super plant mom. I just fucking love my plants.
Well, the same thing is true, like all of the, in my opinion, all of the studies where, the medical studies in particular, where people are given a placebo, but then they heal themselves.
Yeah,
Like, okay, so you're taking this pill and you're telling yourself that this pill is going to fix you. This pill is a sugar pill. It's
yeah,
doing nothing. But because your brain believes that this pill is going to fix you and now all of a sudden you're fixed,
yeah.
and we want to sit back and we don't want to recognize how powerful that is. Or there was a documentary that came out, I think it was Netflix or something a couple of years ago, and this guy had like terminal something, and he totally rewired and healed himself after doctors told him he was never going to live. Like
Yeah.
so many of that.
There's so many stories about that. I mean, that even ties into, I made a video on this, I think last week, where there was that study where a whole bunch of people were like told that they were being given alcohol and
Oh, yeah, I
started
saw
drinking.
that.
Yeah, they started drinking and they start acting drunk and they're slurring their
Yes.
words and they're passing out and they're like just super fucking shit faced, but none of them actually had alcohol,
Yes. I saw
right?
that.
Yeah, and that's literally the power of your brain. Like what you believe becomes your reality. So if you believe my body is never going to heal, I'm always going to be dealing with hormonal issues, weight, whatever, that's going to be your reality. And on the
Hmm.
flip side, if you believe like fuck, losing weight is easy, like I'm dropping weight every day, that's going to be your reality. And it's interesting because I've been doing this like myself over the last I've been like really conscious of how I talk to myself and like
Okay,
when I eat any meal, every like I start it with like every bite it makes me lose weight. And like I've dropped 5 pounds this week. Like
that's insane.
yeah,
And we all know that you're not in a deficit that's creating a 5 pound weight loss.
no.
So it's,
Definitely not.
and then, I mean, there's so many examples. There's also another study that I was looking at where it was talking about how your stress within 5 minutes weakens your immune system.
Yes.
That spike in cortisol weakens your immune system within 5 minutes. It reduces your white blood cell activity like almost instantly. And so it's just so crazy to me. Like we have so many freaking examples, so many different studies. You can really attack this from so many different angles, but then there's still people out there that are like, no, this is too woo woo. You guys are crazy.
No, and the wild thing is because a lot of people look at this and they're going to see like, oh, well, Chandra said that she just says that she thinks she's losing weight every time she eats food. And I tried it and it didn't work for me. But here's the difference. You're still in a body that is in fight or flight, right? You're still in a body that is pumping out cortisol all day long that doesn't feel safe. I'm in a
Mhm.
body that I have literally spent the last 3 months meditating, doing breath work, doing nervous system regulation, day in and day out so that my body could feel so safe that now when I tell my body something it's like okay cool we got this. And that's like the missing piece for people is like when you're in a dysregulated body, no matter how many affirmations you tell yourself or like what story you're telling yourself, nothing's going to change if you're in this place of like one of the dysregulated nervous system states of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
Well, and people don't realize too that you can literally like your vagus nerve is your body's on and off switch, right?
Yeah,
And you can literally control this nerve. And you mentioned that you do a ton of meditation, and we all know that meditation changes your brain. Like it's scientific studies. I think it's
uh,
gray matter increases in your brain when you meditate, which has to do with your emotional regulation and your decision making and all of the things. And so
yeah.
it's mind blowing to me that people see all of these facts and evidence and hear so many people talk so passionately about it, and then they're like, yeah, but it won't work for me.
I know. And
And you're
it's
like,
like,
oh wait,
you
and like if they could just like realize like you can literally heal yourself, change yourself in the 5D and start to see it in the 3D.
yeah. And it's so funny because like a lot of my clients, I mean, I would say the majority of my clients, I give them all nervous system regulation practices, right? And it doesn't have to be like what I'm doing. Obviously I've taken it to a different level and that's what's serving me currently. But it can be 5 minutes, like 3 times a day, right? It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be meditation. It doesn't have to be time consuming. It doesn't have to be any of these things, even though I think everybody benefits from meditation. But it can be little things like doing some box breathing, or, you talked about the vagus nerve. Literally, if you just take stock of your body, most people, when they're just existing, they're so stressed out that your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth. Just take
Right.
the tongue off of the roof of your mouth. You're going to start having saliva happen, and that's literally your vagus nerve clicking back into play, right? Like that's stimulating your vagus nerve. And something as little as that can be nervous system regulation, right? Like taking stock, pull that tongue down, your mouth's going to start filling with saliva. That's your vagus nerve turning back on, right? Like it can be such
Mhm.
little things. Um, and
Even
then
listen.
also, I think like a big thing most people miss is like you're thinking 60 to 80,000 thoughts in a day. And most people are thinking about 80% of those are negative thoughts. And something like 60 to 80% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you thought the day before. So you
That
are
was gonna be my
literally,
next question is I wonder how many of them are just on repeat.
yeah, you are literally thinking the same negative thoughts about yourself day in and day out without ever realizing it. Because most people, if you ask them, about that, they have no idea. They have no idea what that little voice in their head is doing all day long. But if you really start listening to it, it's like, holy shit, that voice is an asshole. And you have to realize, like, first, that voice isn't you, but you have to change that voice if you're going to change your life.
Right. Right. And it absolutely will change your life. It absolutely will. So,
It's so
oh,
funny because all of this work that we're talking about, it's really so simple, but it's hard. Like I recognize that it's hard to make these changes for a lot of people, for everybody. It's hard and it takes constant work. And I think that's the part that like hangs up people because we just want to do what's easy. And unfortunately, for most people, what's easy is being on autopilot and being in this place of fight or flight and being dysregulated and just cruising with what is known. And that comes down to your subconscious mind, right? Because your subconscious mind is always trying to keep you safe. And to it, safe is what's known. So what's known is like, okay, we think these negative thoughts, we don't try to move out of that. So you literally, that's where nervous system regulation comes in because your body has to feel safe to change.
mhm.
I could talk about this way too much.
I know. Same. And we have the crazy part is we were already talking for an hour before we hit record. So
Yeah, I know.
we could literally talk about this all day
All
long.
day
But
long.
that's why we have this podcast as an outlet. All
Yeah.
right. Do we want to get into Q&A? Do you want to?
Yeah, we should do some
Okay.
questions.
Let me see. I think I took some screenshots. So,
Okay.
all right. Number one, let's see here. What are your tips for people who aren't hungry in the morning? Is it okay to skip breakfast? And I guess to this point, what's your opinions on intermittent fasting?
So I tell my clients like they need to be eating within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. And so it's like unless we are doing fasting, but intermittent fasting in my opinion is a tool and it's not for everybody. Um so I like my clients to eat within 30 to 60 minutes. If you're training in the morning, you have to eat before you train. And it doesn't have to be a big meal. Like it can be something small if you don't have like a huge appetite, but the only way you're going to increase that appetite is by eating.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I mean, I do have nuanced cases where we implement some fasting strategies and some intermittent fasting strategies, but it's to chase a certain goal. It's not the rule, it's the exception. And also, I mean, I want my clients to eat within an hour of waking up, like you said, to stimulate that kind of digestive process and metabolism and start to blunt that cortisol and all of the things.
Yeah.
So I would say I agree with you on this, even if it's something small.
Yeah.
And two, like even if, and I could argue this, back and forth, but even if it's a protein shake and a half a banana, like
Yeah.
something small.
It
uh,
doesn't have to be something big, like, but you should be getting something in you. And
mhm.
like I mean, I have clients too. Yes, we do fasting or implement, some sort of fast, but that's a very specific case and it's very specific goals and it's definitely not for everyone. Um,
It's not necessarily long term,
it's usually never long term.
very short-lived and I mean, maybe extended in an extreme case, but usually it's short-lived to get it to a certain goal or get certain markers back
Yeah.
in line, and
And
then
that's
and
what I
we're done
think
with
a
it.
lot of people don't understand is like intermittent fasting is like touted as this weight loss holy grail. And in reality, what's happening is we're controlling the feeding window, which is what's happening for most people, right? But like, yeah, there's times where fasting is going to produce a response that we want in terms of like helping with markers and stuff like that. But for most women, especially our 30 plus women, if we start implementing these fasts without a purpose or structure behind it, all we're doing is increasing stress in the body, therefore increasing cortisol and inflammation. And it can be like a metabolic shitstorm if you're not doing it properly.
I also too really, really think you have to take into account your season of life too. So, as a whole, I don't love intermittent fasting. I think it can be a very useful tool, but I know, the woman who asked me is a young, healthy, vibrant, I think she's 23 maybe. Uh,
Oh,
years old, and so I think it's more of a convenience thing for her rather than a healing thing. Uh, and so I would say 100% she's got to, grab something small and eat within the first hour of getting up. And two,
Yeah,
not super hungry, go for a little walk. Go for a little walk. It's helpful.
exactly. Exactly.
Um,
What's
all right,
next?
so we agree on that one. Let's see here. For cardio, does your heart rate need to stay in the range that you specify the whole time? So let's kind of pause here. You and I think we both give our clients heart rate targets and then a duration for their cardio. So that's what she's
Yeah.
talking about. You do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't have like a calorie goal or something. It's like a heart rate and yeah. So
I
and she said,
sometimes will do the calorie goal thing if it's like somebody in prep, but it's very rare.
I don't usually do it only because I feel like it's such inconsistent data.
It is. And it
And
just
I
depends.
struggle with
Like,
it. But I know a lot of people that do use it. I've never,
yeah, it's not my favorite, but there's like specific cases where I'll implement that.
and like, are you using the same machine every day, the same time of day? Like, are all the other variables removed? Then okay, maybe we can use a calorie target. But I'm like you, I'm mostly time and heart rate target.
Yeah.
Saying, for example, my heart rate target is 130 to 150 and for 35 minutes. If I do intervals, sometimes it drops below 130. Am I getting caught up in the details or does it really matter? So, here's the thing for me is I'm always trying to manage my clients' output based off of giving them those heart rate targets, right? Like I want them to be, and I hate using this term, but I want them to be in like that fat loss zone, but I don't want them to be totally exacerbated and dead unless they're doing hit or intervals on purpose.
Yeah.
And so for her, she's doing steady state cardio. And so my answer to that would be yes, your heart rate should stay within target for the entire duration of your assigned cardio.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's too hard. If your heart rate drops down, then speed
That's
up
just a
the
sign you
intensity
got
a
to
little
speed
bit
it up.
or dial in the resistance or get a little faster or get your arms moving a little more. And so I don't think that she's getting caught up in the details or overthinking, but we shouldn't be doing intervals if we're assigned steady state.
Yeah. And that's very true. And like I was going to say, because she asks about intervals, and it's like, okay, but yes, if you're being
You're
assigned,
either doing intervals or you're doing steady state.
yeah. And so, and if you were assigned intervals and you were given a range, you still want to be in that range for your intervals, right? Like you shouldn't be all of a sudden like if my coach told me that this was my heart rate range for intervals, I wouldn't be all of a sudden like just walking on the slow part. I would still be keeping the intensity to keep the heart rate up, right?
Well, and two,
But it
there's reasons and there's methodology into why we would choose interval versus
yeah.
steady state. And so I think clients can get in their head where they're like, oh, well, she told me to do steady state. That's way too easy. So let me add in some extra.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's what happened here, but I'm not sure.
Uh,
But if you're assigned steady state, do steady state. If you're assigned intervals, do intervals.
And if
And
you're assigned steady state and your heart rate's supposed to be 130 to 150, and you're all of a sudden dropping down because you're doing intervals, then you just took the intensity out of that cardio.
mhm.
So you're doing yourself a disservice for what the goal of that cardio was.
Right. And two, I would never have, I don't know about never say never, but you wouldn't assign somebody intervals for 35 minutes. That's the
Oh
point.
God, no.
That's the point of keeping it, the lighter
Yeah.
intensity and steady state because you don't, so I think maybe she's trying to do too much and then needs that recovery time in between
Yeah.
intervals, and that's where the question is starting. So, Miss Ma'am, if we're assigned steady state, we do steady state. That's all.
Period. Period.
That's all. And the details do matter. They do matter because your body responds differently to intervals than it would to steady state.
Yeah.
So many different variables
And
and reasons.
also, we don't want to be doing intervals for 35 minutes, absolutely crushing ourselves because then stress, inflammation, cortisol. non-responsive body. Like I wish so often, like I just want to shake people because it's like, stop thinking more is better. The answer isn't more. The answer is working with
Strategy.
it, not against it.
The answer is strategy. It's not
Yeah,
just output. Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Let's see. What's the solution for when you can squat more than you can carry? For example, goblet squat. I can't hold as much as I could squat. Should I change the more reps, machine swap, or strengthen back?
So this one, it's funny because we talked about this one beforehand, and I don't understand the whole back comment in terms of should I strengthen my back. To me, my first like thought is like, what does your form look like? Because if you need to strengthen your back to hold more in a goblet squat, we're
Well, the
doing
goblet,
something wrong.
yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. There's a form cue that's not that's not right
Yeah,
here.
like
And you
there's
know what's crazy is I tell all of my clients, I'm like, send me form videos.
me too.
Like it's every single week. I don't care. Like send them all the time because you can always improve. I record my own sets almost every single day at the gym. And
Yeah,
almost every single day I look back and I'm like, oh God, I didn't know I was going that fast. Or ew, why did I pick up that bad habit? Like there's always something that I'm,
yeah.
dang, Crystal, you're really slacking today. Like,
My clients who make the best progress are the ones that take videos and send them to me.
mhm,
Like one of my clients, she just had a DEXA scan done. And I mean, she's a perimenopausal woman. We know how hard it is to put on muscle. We have literally put on over 8 pounds of muscle in a year. Like, that's amazing, you know?
crazy.
Yeah. So form matters. And like I have another
And
client,
who wants to waste their time in the gym?
yeah. I have
I
another
wish
client.
somebody would have corrected my form when I first started and been like, oh, girl, let me help you because you're just spinning
Yeah.
my wheels. And nobody did. Everybody just let me spin my wheels.
Yeah. I have another client, she's a competitor and we're in an off season, like a long off season right now, but every week she sends me videos and every week, she's getting better and better and better. And like that's where progress is made. And yet people, I don't know. I don't know why some people just like don't want to send those videos. I'm like, I still send my coach videos.
I when I lived in New York and I went to like this small kind of podunk gym, they were really against videos.
Yeah.
And there was signs everywhere, like you can't record yourself, like no videos or whatever. And I have been spoken down to by somebody who walked in the background of one of my videos. And he was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be on your video, and like was freaking out on me for no reason. And so I understand that there is some level of discomfort, but
Yeah.
it takes a couple of seconds. And we're not, and I would never say record your entire workout, but maybe pick one move. Like if you're doing
Yeah.
deadlifts and you're like, oh, this is supposed to be, growing my posterior, but I feel it just in my lower back, you can deduce you're doing something wrong. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the you record that day, you know?
And I mean, that's a good point too, is like you could literally just record one exercise per day until you've sent your coach all of them and then just keep rotating them through like that, right? Like however however you want to do it, whatever feels comfortable. I mean, even if you just wanted to do it at home and send the movement pattern, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, just to, yeah. Or even if you just, go in, bring a couple of dumbbells and go into a quiet corner of the gym and just say like, hey, I know I use the bar, but this is what's happening. Can you look at my form with dumbbells? Like we would both say, of course, yes.
yeah,
So those form videos, they make a big difference. They really do. And if your coach offers them, absolutely take them up on it because it will change
yeah,
everything. I have never made so much progress than when I started recording my own videos because especially I mean, we do this for a living. Like I would have assumed like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with my form. I would have I would have placed money down on the fact that my form was good.
uh,
But every single time I watch my form back, I'm like, why did I didn't even pause? Where's my pause? Where's my tip? Where's
Uh,
the like I always go back and I'm like,
I know.
oh,
And
what were
it's
you
like,
doing?
you have to think of it in terms of like professional athletes. There's a reason they watch their game day footage and they watch their training footage and they watch all of this stuff because that's the only way to get better is by like refining what you're doing.
Yeah, 100,
So
100.
back to the question, I would say like if something like goblet squats, if it became a grip issue, I would use like wraps or Versa grips or something like that. Because I do that with like heavy movements anyways. If I'm doing, say, dumbbell deadlifts or even lunges or like Bulgarian split squats and stuff like that, if I'm holding more than I can comfortably hold for that set, right? Like doing Bulgarians with 100-pound dumbbell, I will use my Versa grips. But like in this case, I think it's more of a form issue than it is a weight
I
issue.
think I just mentioned back. Yeah. And
Yeah.
two, I mean, yes, grips we can use, but then I would never program somebody to do goblet squats thinking that they're going to be lifting 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Usually a finisher or something like that. So, also too, recognizing the fact that some movements aren't going to be your heaviest lift.
Yeah.
Like you're going to lift a lot more with a back squat than you would with a goblet squat. Like I think
Yeah.
too, kind of recognizing that. But absolutely, Miss Ma'am, send in some form videos because that's the question here. Um, and then let's see, next question. Is caffeine bad for you? Have you looked at the Bloom energy drinks and are they a good option? I've never looked at Bloom energy drinks. I'm going to keep it
No,
100.
I don't look at any energy drinks. Like, first of all, caffeine I think most people could probably cut out caffeine very happily. I don't think it's necessary. And if it is necessary for you to feel like you need a pre-workout to go to the gym, or you need an energy drink to to get throughout the day, or you need coffee in the morning to wake up, there's probably something wrong with what you're doing. Like,
That. And two, if you feel like you need the energy drinks and the caffeine,
yeah,
there's something going on. Like you should
yeah, like,
like and your sleep is good and you're taking care of yourself and she's obviously a client, so it's like okay, your nutrition's good, your sleep is good, you're training really well. Why do we feel like we need this caffeine? Should we look at labs? Should we dig a little deeper? Are
yeah,
we actually getting, good quality sleep? How's our sleep hygiene? Are we falling asleep, to a TV? Or are we having a really good nighttime routine with some good sleep hygiene involved?
yeah.
But is caffeine by itself bad for you? No. I think
No,
moderation, I
everything
think
in
it actually
moderation.
can be good for you. It can increase your focus. It can make you a little bit more alert, but the devil's in the dose,
Well,
you
and I
know?
think too many people get hung up on like, I need the coffee to survive. I need the coffee to function. I need the caffeine or whatever. And like, okay, if we're doing that, then we have to look at, are we raising cortisol? Like, how is our adrenal health? Like, the devil is in the dose, but I think for most women, especially 30 plus, you don't need the caffeine. You don't need extra caffeine. I mean, I drink coffee, but I drink decaf
So
because I drink it because I like the taste, not because I
I was
want the
just gonna
kick.
say, so here's for me, like I'm born and raised Seattle. Okay. So like coffee is literally in my veins. That's what I tell people. When I have coffee, I want it to show up on a drug test. But but here's the thing is I every single morning I make my little latte and it's got a shot of espresso in it. I have never finished not one cup of coffee. I don't think in my
Yeah.
entire life. Like I just like the experience. I like the taste. I should probably switch to decaf, but it's just more of an experience thing for me than
Yeah.
anything else. And I also too, so when I'm sipping on my coffee, I'm very mindful. Like it's just like a slow moment for me before like the rush of my workday and whatnot. But I never ever, it's a miracle if I drink half of it.
Yeah.
It's more of
And
like
I
a
like that
ritual
though,
for me.
because it's something that's just a ritual for you, right? It's a portal into your day. It's very
And
aesthetically aligned. It's
I'm
not,
always doing my gratitude journal during that time.
yeah.
Like for me, it's like it's just a slow break before kind of like get the kids to school, get the kids up, get all this stuff done. But
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, I do go to coffee shops and I'll order a latte or whatever, but I literally never drink even half of them.
So
Like it's the experience.
yeah, I work at coffee shops all the time, right? Like I like to go to Starbucks and work from that just because it breaks up being at home. But it's always either tea, I get the chamomile mint tea, or I do a decaf Americano. Like those are the two things I switch between.
Mm. I also, I mean, I do, this is awful. I do love energy drinks to some degree, but it's a flavor thing for me.
Yeah.
And so like I'll sip on it and like it's more of like a flavor thing. And for me, it's like a nostalgia than anything else because there's only one energy drink that I like, and it's a Monster and it's low carb and it's blue. And it's literally like I will buy it and I'll sip on it, but again, I never finish it. It's like a nostalgia thing for me.
That's
And so
so funny.
I get the like just it's part of your daily habit and routine because also like I could not have any coffee or caffeine and be just fine too. So
Yeah. And I think that's the difference, right? Is like because like we said, the devil's in the dose, but like if it's just a treat,
like
then
I'm never like, oh my God, I need this coffee.
yeah, like, oh, I need this to survive or whatever. It's just something that's like an occasional treat. I mean, I used to love energy drinks, but that was back before I was, conscientious of my adrenals. Um,
Mhm.
White monsters were my thing. Uh,
I
I haven't
yeah,
had I haven't had an energy drink in probably 4 years.
I had gone probably about the same without
Yeah.
having an energy drink. And then when I started teaching pole, it's nighttime. And so I went to stop and grab a water bottle, and the energy drink was just calling my name. So I was like, yeah, I'll grab one. And now it's like my Friday night thing. I'll grab an energy drink on the way out for pole class. And
But
yeah,
that's cute that it's a Friday night thing, right? Like that's like
it's like
it's like the coffee in the morning. It's ritual. It's not every day.
yeah, it's sort of like and like I know it's not good for me and I never finish them, but it's almost like and so for me I'll tell you where the monster started. So the monster started way back in the day when I was faking it until I made it with my sales career. And I would crack open a monster and I would listen to like really like motivational speeches or personal development or whatever on my way to work. And so now it's so crazy to me, but like just the sound of that can opening and the smell gets me in like this hyped up mood.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna go crush the fucking day. And it's not even like it's like before I even had a sip of it, it's not the caffeine. It's literally like just the nostalgia of like the crack of the can and the smell
Because
because it has such a strong smell for me.
you wrote that into your neural pathways, right? That is
Literally there. It's there.
yeah.
And it's
So
such a trigger that hearing that can open and
you
that smell, I'm like, time to crush it. Like
yeah, that you have the neural pathway that sound and the smell is triggering all of those motivational speeches and like
I
that's
could try
neural
to lion right
pathway.
now. Send them my way. Like
Oh, that's so funny.
oh man, I think that was the last question. Let me see. Hold on. I thought we had
It
more.
is we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, I think we should. I think that was the last one. Hold on. Let me just double check one other place. Did you have any others?
No, I put in the question box and then I on Instagram there and we talked about how we just get stupid questions on Instagram.
Literally, like, when are you gonna start an OnlyFans? Like,
Yeah. It's like,
oh
wrong.
God. Like, all
uh,
right. Well, I love this. I love this, although we didn't get a chance to talk about your tattoo story, which I so badly want to talk about. So maybe we'll
Next
work that
week. We'll
one
talk about it next week.
because it absolutely is so powerful that people need to know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So next week we'll talk about the tattoo story.
Oy. All right.
Okay.
Well, loved being
Well,
here with you.
pardon?
I loved being here with you and hanging out with you.
Me too. It's a highlight of my week. And thank you all for hanging out with us on the Quantum Body podcast, where we talk about the things that really move the needle: gut health, hormone balance, nervous system regulation, mindset, and manifesting your dream reality from the inside out.
Yes, like, follow, and subscribe for all things functional health and quantum healing. If you want to go deeper with us, definitely find us on Instagram. Chandra is at coachc.wellness. And then my Instagram is at crystal_stretch. Your transformation starts now. Let's rise.
Yay.